Hello, everyone. This is Andy Coopersmith, Managing Director of the Penn Wharton Public Policy Initiative. Thank you all for joining us this afternoon for this brief webinar. At any point during the webinar, you should feel free to type in a question. I'm happy to take them at any point in the conversation today. Welcome to making public policy part of your Penn experience. And again, if at any point you have a question or if there's some technical issue, please just let us know. So I just wanted to start off by going over sort of the agenda for today. Wanted to spend a few minutes talking briefly about Penn Wharton PPI's mission, give you a broad overview of our student programming, and then talk in some more detail about, I guess, the main reason for this webinar, which is to talk about the Public Policy Research Scholars Program, applications for which are coming due soon. Again, feel free to jump in with questions along the way. In case you don't, in case you haven't interacted much with Penn Wharton PPI in the past, just wanted to give you a bit of a background about us. So we started about 4 years ago with seed funding from a couple of Wharton donors who wanted to create a new hub on campus for public policy research and education that sort of marshals all of the good stuff that's going on here to promote better informed policymaking on issues that relate to business and the economy. That's obviously a very broad purview. We fire away on issues that are broad ranging from energy and environmental things to healthcare issues to tax and fiscal policy issues. Really anything and everything that relates to the economic health of the country. But what does this really mean for us when we talk about leveraging our resources? We do the work that we do operating along two primary and interconnected lines. One that I'm not really going to talk much about today is that we work with faculty to promote their expertise and to get their research insights on the radar screen of policymakers in Washington in hopes that their nonpartisan research will factor into future thinking about these very thorny economic policy questions. More important for today is, I guess, our second line of action, which is to work with students and to help train the next generation of leaders to better understand this complex relationship between business and public policy, and to think about ways in which students can make this a part of their life, both at Penn and, of course, after Penn in their careers post-graduation. So how do we do this? I want to talk a bit more, again, just at a very high level about what we do with students. And we have a pretty broad array of programming that we offer for students. Hopefully some of these you yourselves have been involved in at some point, or if not, will aim to be involved in the coming years at Penn. So number one, we host a lot of interesting speaker events. Just in the past semester, for example, we hosted Ezra Klein, the renowned data journalist who came to give a talk on the current election cycle, the wild and crazy current election cycle. We hosted Ben Bernanke on campus at the very end of the last semester. We've had speaker visits from the likes of Tim Geithner, from Allison Schwartz, the former Pennsylvania Congresswoman, from Doug Elmendorf, the former head of the Congressional Budget Organization, Congressional Budget Office, pardon me, and many other really high-ranking people from Washington who have come to campus to share their experiences. We run an annual case competition to engage students in thinking of innovative solutions to ongoing policy problems. Our most recent case competition, this always runs in the fall, focused on infrastructure policy. And we were really excited this past year when our winning team was invited by the US Treasury to speak with an interagency group that they host that focuses on infrastructure policy issues. So that was an exciting change for our case competition, and something we're hoping to do more of in the future, which is to enable our case competition winners to have an opportunity to present their winning ideas in Washington. We at Penn Wharton PPI have a student association called Wongtank, which gives participating students the opportunity to engage in independent research, both through the composition of blog post entries that go onto our website, as well as through their own research. This past year, with support from PPI, the students in Wongtank did a really, excellent independent research project, quantitatively assessing the value of higher education. Something that I think was really personally meaningful to the students, and we were really glad to be able to support that, both in terms of providing oversight, as well as helping them get the piece published within the university once it was done. We help to provide research assistantships for students. Given the work that we do with faculty on their research, we are able to offer paid research assistantships for students to work either part-time during the school year or full-time over the summer with faculty, and to have that experience of doing data collecting and analysis, and to learn more, as the students can really learn more about what it takes to do academic research and public policy, as well as what it takes to get that research published. One of our more recent innovations was to create a DC industry exploration program. We took a group of 25 students for 3 days in DC for research seminars at the World Bank, at the Fed Board of Governors, at the Security and Exchange Commission, and several other really fantastic organizations that are doing interesting public policy research of different stripes. This is something that we're planning on doing in future years as well, and I think it's going to be a great way to give more students direct exposure to the research process in Washington. And then we also support summer internships in DC. This summer we're supporting over 100 Penn students that are interning at various organizations and agencies in Washington. These are mostly undergrad students, but also some graduate students. And so we do a lot of work here, both to help develop the opportunities to promote Penn students when they apply for these DC internships, and then we provide funding of up to $500 a week for undergraduate students to do these summer opportunities. So as you can see, there are lots of ways to get involved with PPI, lots of ways in which we try to support students in learning about the relationship between economics and public policy, and to get involved at various levels in engaging in public policy research on campus. Now, the thing that I really am interested in speaking with you all about today is the Public Policy Research Scholars Program, which is a fairly new initiative here. It was launched just last year. Initially, it was launched, we had permission to launch it to Wharton engineering and nursing students only. It was still under review at the college, but effective this past fall, it has now been approved for all Penn undergraduate students. I'm happy to report. So what is Public Policy Research Scholars? It's an honors certificate program, again, that we just started offering last year. It was something that we really wanted to do, in part because looking around at the resources that students had to learn about public policy, one thing that was really missing to us was sort of a general academic curriculum where students can learn about public policy analysis. That there really isn't a public policy major for undergraduates at Penn. The Fels Institute really only serves graduate students. And while there were and still are policy-related majors in different departments across Penn, there was really no no program sort of dedicated to public policy writ large in the way that you find at schools like Princeton or Stanford that offer a public policy major. So our thought was to create a certificate program, something that's a bit more than a minor, but not quite a major, but something that can be added to any major in any school at Penn. Whether you're doing political science in the college, or doing a finance concentration in Wharton, or a nursing undergraduate degree, or any of the majors over in engineering, that this is something that you can lay over it to add an additional policy training to your curriculum. And in doing this, our goal was to, again, different from what other majors or other academic programs at Penn do, was to make it a program that goes beyond just curricular training and to include research training, internships, and other co-curricular experiences to make it sort of a holistic experience of public policy research that just goes beyond classroom learning. So our first class, again, was for the class of 2018. Again, we were only able to offer it to students outside the college. And so we had 11 students in our first cohort. 4 Wharton single degree, 1 engineering student, 1 nursing student, and then 4 dual degree students. And so one thing I'm really proud about with PPRS so far is that we've been able to engage a real wide variety of students that are really interested in different types of academic work, and also interested in different kinds of public policy. We have students in this first cohort that are interested in education policy, in healthcare policy, in space policy, in financial regulatory policy. It really runs the gamut. And that really was our goal, is to have a program that enables students to, while getting basic training in policy analysis, to explore whatever their specific interest in public policy is. And just to give a bit of background on what the certificate entails, 2 semesters of econ are the prerequisite, as you may have seen already. It's an 8 CU course of study where students do a couple of semesters of statistics. Everybody takes BEP 201, which is the introduction course to business, economics, and public policy, which is a really great foundational course for that sort of walks students through the process of doing analysis of different types of economic policy. And then students take 1 political science course related to the policymaking process. And then they're able to sort of make the program their own by taking 3 elective courses in a particular public policy track of their choosing. Again, whether that's something related to healthcare, related to fiscal policy, related to education issues, can really be anything even of a student's own making. And then this is all going to be capped off in a capstone course where students are basically going to be put to the challenge of sort of writing a policy brief, of taking a current issue and doing a full, both a literature review and an economic analysis of that issue, and putting that together as sort of a short policy brief. As I mentioned, part of what we offer as PPRS is certain perks, one of which, of course, is to be part of a community of like-minded students, everybody who's interested in public policy analysis, no matter how, in particular, they want to focus that interest, given the broad number of issues that relate to economic policy. But being part of PPRS also entails other perks. So for example, I mentioned that we help set up students for research assistant opportunities. Students in PPRS have priority for those, since part of the program is to help train students in public policy research. Those students get sort of first dibs at research opportunities of working with faculty. They get priority for participating in the industry exploration program that I mentioned before, which is an application-only experience to travel to DC and to participate in those research seminars. They also get priority for special events. So I mentioned, for example, that we had Ezra Klein to campus earlier this semester. There was also a dinner afterwards with Ezra for about a dozen students, and the picture here on the slide is actually of the students before they headed off to dinner after Ezra's lecture. And PPRS students again had first dibs on joining that dinner and being able to have FaceTime with someone who was a very special speaker. And there are other smaller perks as well. I mean, the PPRS students have a weekly study break. We provide food. It provides more, I guess, of a community feel that students are able to sort of dine and study together. And we want to do more things like that to continue building, just a nice cohesive community of students that are interested in similar kinds of issues. So just some final thoughts before I really open it up to questions. The PPRS program has an application. The early deadline for applying is next week. It's June 1st. It is not a long application. There's still plenty of time to get it together. If you are thinking of applying, that's great. There is a recommendation that is required from a faculty member. That recommendation does not have to be in by June 1st, but all of your pieces of the application, the short essay questions, the transcript, etc., that come from you would have to be in by 11:59 p.m. on June 1st, which is next Wednesday. But beyond PPRS, I hope you'll take some time after this webinar to check out all the good things that we do here at PPI. We have a student portal to our website, and the URL for that is given here. From that portal, you can sign up for our listserv to get regular updates about the different kinds of programs that we offer and the activities that we have on the docket for the coming academic year.